The decline of the Abbasid Caliphate, internal strife and fragmentation. Introduction. A golden empire in freefall. Imagine a realm so powerful, so enlightened, that its capital was called the center of the world. Yet within a few short centuries, this mighty empire crumbled, not because of a single external enemy, but because of the rot within. Welcome to Sands of History, where we bring the forgotten past back to life, one story at a time. If you want to support us in telling these tales, check the links in the description below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help us grow. The glory of the Abbasid zenith. When the Abbasids seized power in 750 CE, the Islamic world entered a new golden age. Baghdad, their new capital, quickly became a beacon of learning, commerce, and culture. Caliphs like Harun al-Rashid and Al-Ma'mun reigned over an empire that stretched from North Africa to Central Asia. The House of Wisdom attracted scholars, scientists, and philosophers from across the known world, but even at their peak, the seeds of decline had already been planted. The first cracks. Succession crises. The tradition of passing the caliphate from father to son was fraught with peril. Rivalry among heirs was common, and the lack of a clear, undisputed method of succession led to bloody civil wars. The most infamous early example was the conflict between Al-Amin and Al-Ma'mun in the early 9th century. Al-Amin, based in Baghdad, and Al-Ma'mun, stationed in Khorasan, plunged the empire into a brutal civil war after the death of their father, Caliph Harun al-Rashid. Baghdad itself was besieged, and the caliphate's prestige suffered irreparable damage. Though Al-Ma'mun eventually emerged victorious, the Abbasid dynasty would never again wield absolute control across its vast dominions. The rise of regional powers. As the central authority weakened, ambitious governors and military commanders carved out autonomous realms. In North Africa, the Aghlabids established their own dynasty. In Persia, the Saffarids and later the Samanids grew powerful. In Egypt, the Tulunids and Ikhshidids ruled in all but name. These regional powers still nominally acknowledged the caliph in Baghdad, but their loyalty was superficial. Taxes that once filled the Abbasid treasury now stayed in provincial capitals. The empire was fragmenting, not overnight, but inexorably, like a slow-moving landslide. The role of foreign mercenaries. Desperate to maintain control, the Abbasid caliphs increasingly relied on foreign mercenaries, especially Turkish slave soldiers known as Mamluks. Initially effective, the use of Mamluks had unintended consequences. These soldiers soon realized their own strength. By the mid-9th century, Turkish generals were kingmakers in Baghdad, often choosing or deposing caliphs at will. Caliphs became puppets in the hands of their own guards. This dependency led to further instability and internal violence, as various military factions vied for supremacy. Religious divisions and sectarian strife. The Abbasids, who had originally risen to power with the support of Shia Muslims, quickly abandoned Shi'ism once they secured the caliphate. This betrayal fueled resentment and rebellion among various Shia groups, such as the Zaydis in Yemen and the Ismailis elsewhere. The rise of the Fatimid Caliphate in North Africa, a Shia dynasty that directly challenged Abbasid legitimacy, further eroded Baghdad's authority. At the same time, Sunni orthodoxy was not monolithic either. Different schools of thought clashed, and scholars like Ahmad ibn Hanbal faced persecution at the hands of caliphs who attempted to impose theological conformity. Religious disunity only deepened the fractures within the empire. The devastating impact of economic decline. Baghdad's prosperity relied heavily on trade routes that connected China, India, Africa, and Europe. But as political fragmentation increased, so did insecurity along these routes. Brigandage, local wars, and shifting trade patterns meant fewer goods flowed into Abbasid territories. Tax revenues plummeted. The agricultural system also suffered. The elaborate irrigation networks of Mesopotamia, essential for supporting a large urban population, fell into disrepair as provincial leaders neglected them or used them for personal gain. Without a stable economic foundation, the empire's decline accelerated. The rise of new powers, Buyids and Seljuks. By the 10th century, the Abbasids were largely figureheads. The Buyid dynasty, a Shia Persian group, seized control of Baghdad in 945 CE. While they maintained the caliph as a symbolic leader to legitimize their rule, real power rested with the Buyid emirs. Later, the Seljuks, a Sunni Turkish dynasty, would supplant the Buyids. The Seljuks restored some order and reinvigorated Sunni Islam, but they too treated the caliph as little more than a ceremonial figure. The Abbasid Caliph was a hostage in his own palace, used for the Seljuks' political ends. The psychological toll, loss of unity and identity. The Abbasid caliphs once claimed to be the rightful leaders of all Muslims, the descendants of the Prophet's uncle. As their authority shrank, so did their aura of divine favor. Fragmentation not only divided the empire physically, but also shattered the shared sense of identity that had once united diverse peoples under the Abbasid banner. The Islamic world was no longer a single empire, but a patchwork of competing states, each claiming its own legitimacy. This splintering made the Muslim world vulnerable to future external threats, threats that would come sooner than anyone expected. The final blows. The Mongol invasion. Though internal decay had long been eating away at the Abbasid Caliphate, the fatal blow came from outside. In 1258, the Mongols, under the command of Hulagu Khan, descended upon Baghdad. The Caliph, Al-Mustasim, made the fatal mistake of underestimating their power. After a brief siege, the Mongols stormed the city, slaughtered its inhabitants, and destroyed its magnificent libraries, including the famed House of Wisdom. Baghdad, the jewel of the Islamic world, was reduced to ashes. Though the Abbasid line would continue in a shadow form in Cairo under the Mamluks, the age of Abbasid supremacy was over. Conclusion. Lessons from a fallen empire. The Abbasid Caliphate's decline was not the result of a single catastrophe, but a gradual, multifaceted process driven by internal strife, political fragmentation, religious division, economic decay, and ultimately external conquest. It is a stark reminder that even the greatest civilizations can collapse when their foundations rot from within. Understanding this story is vital, not just to comprehend the past, but to recognize the warning signs that echo even today. Thank you for joining us on Sands of History. If you enjoyed this journey through the rise and fall of one of history's greatest empires, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And if you would like to support us financially to create more in-depth content, check out the links in the description below. Until next time, keep exploring the sands of time. Would you